Hey everyone, and welcome to The Game Code. We're Atlantic Canada's only video game show, bringing you all the best of both the local and global video game scene. I'm your host, Stephanie Pelley, and here's what we've got coming up for you right now. One of the largest professional fighting game tournaments in North America, CEO is also known for its very personable organizer, Nova Scotia native Alex Jebailey. We've got Alex on deck to talk about the pro circuit and his experience with competitive gaming. We know that Mike has always had a bit of a gripe when it comes to Kickstarter, but there's something that's recently got him hot under the collar. We check in with him to see what that is. Ian returns with Blake Seymour to bring you another lesson from the MOBA classroom. If you need to step up your Dota, League, or Han games, you won't want to miss this. What gaming console would you want to take to a deserted island? This is a question we asked our Facebook fans, and we've got the most popular answers. And finally, Adam joins us to give his impressions on one of the most twisted puzzle games to date. We've got a full review of Antichamber coming up for you. But first up, Alex Jebailey is a bit of a legend in the fighting games community. He's also the head of CEO Gaming, one of the largest pro tournaments in the fighting game genre. Equally well known for his persona, he's been immortalized as a playable character in the soon-to-be-released indie title Dive Kick, which you might remember from our PAX special. We got the chance to talk all about games with Alex, fighting and otherwise. Check it out.
CEO Gaming, it's been around for about 4 years now. Started out as without the title. I used to run a lot of tournaments locally in Orlando, Florida, and I've been playing fighting games for about 20 years now. And then CEO really started 4 years ago when somebody was running an event and then had to cancel at the last moment. And I replaced it with the first CEO in 2010. And it was just for Florida. Just wanted to do a nice event to recover from this canceled event. And so we had the tournament. About 300 people showed up the first year. And I was like, you know what? Let me do a big yearly one every June in the summer, because that's the perfect time to come down to Florida. So the next year, 2011 had 900 people. Then last year we had about 1,600 people. So it keeps growing every year. It's all about fighting game tournaments. That's my biggest focus. So yeah, CEO is about bringing people together. I love it. I'm also a player. I still compete in tournaments, so the competition is why I do it. But also the people that I've networked and brought from all over the world to come play games. It's a beautiful thing that I enjoy doing and seeing. Biggest challenges with putting on something like CEO, money. Everything does cost money to put on the stuff. Fortunately, I've been very fortunate because CEO really started by me winning a lot of Street Fighter 4 tournaments and taking all that prize money to buy Xboxes, PlayStations, monitors. So it kind of started with that. So I had a very easy road, sorta, but I still had to invest a lot of my own day job money to put it on. Biggest requirement when you want to go big is you got to rent out your entire hotel. So that's the biggest challenge as an organizer. Once you hit that mark, it's a big sigh of relief, and then you can move forward with actually planning the event. It's really easy because in Orlando, I think, because I have so much staff and help and friends that I hang out with all the time, so I can always pass them ideas. They're ready to work hard and put on the event with me. So yeah, that's the biggest challenge is money, obviously. Getting funding sometimes. A lot of sponsors are starting to become interested, but a lot of them, it's really hard to get cash up front out of them. So you got to build relationships first with them for the long term, not just go, doing this event, I want it to be huge, let's make money, then move on with life. You can't do that. You got to be in it for the long haul. I wouldn't say I'm stuck because I love it, so just going to keep growing it as much as I can. A lot of people think it's challenging to become as big as EVO, and I actually work with EVO. They help me out. I'm a part of the Road to EVO for the last 2 years, plus this coming year. But I want to be the next EVO to help out with them, because there can be more than one great event every year, and there's so many great tournaments all over the place, but I'm like risking a lot more by going as big scale as I can, as fast as I can, while the iron's hot. I like the pressure, I really do. It makes me want to exceed more and do better, so as long as there's pressure, it makes me excited to put on the event and impress people and do that. If I disappoint people, I learn from those mistakes and I make it better the next year. I'm originally from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Quickly after my birth, we moved down to Orlando, Florida, most of my family. But I didn't really grow up there, but I consider myself Canadian. I've been back up there about 5-6 times though since birth, so great place. I still have a lot of relatives and friends up there, so it's always beautiful 2 months out of the year when it's not snowing like crazy. But yeah, that's where I'm originally from, is Halifax, Nova Scotia. I have 2 older brothers and older sister, so when I was like 4 years old, my brothers bought a Nintendo. We're playing Zelda. I used to remember always resetting my brother's NES Zelda save, because if he shut it off the wrong way and I would race in, he would yell at me. And I played it because my older brothers, and then the original Mortal Kombat were my brothers. They kind of outgrew it, but when I was 11 years old, I won the first ever Blockbuster video game challenge, actually, on Super Nintendo. And that kind of cemented all right, this is my favorite hobby, I love it, I like to compete, so that's how it began, was the Blockbuster video game challenge, and I've been a gamer since. I love to take my time with single-player games. I don't have the time I used to play RPGs like Final Fantasy VII, all those. I've been playing Tomb Raider, Devil May Cry, lots of great action games this year. I play a lot of genres. Racing games are my favorites. I'm a big Gran Turismo nut. I 100% them all with whatever time I can to do it. But I like action games. Dive Kick, we got Dive Kick here that's coming out this summer. Amazing game. I consider it the rock, paper, scissors of video games. Anybody can play the game and have a great time with it. So I'm going to play a lot of that when it does come out this summer. But yeah, a lot of one-player action games when I get the time to do it. BioShock soon. I've played every BioShock. So I like story games. Just relax, decompress, and play those. I used to play Dance Dance Revolution. Used to play it a lot. Did a little Guinness thing back in 2002. Played it for 13 hours nonstop. So yeah, I grew up with DDR. I played fighting games, then I stopped playing fighting games. Then I played DDR for like 3 years. Then I went back to fighting games. Then I played a Versus system card game professionally. So I like to play anything that has a competition to it. And DDR was big back in the early 2000s. But yeah, that's the unique thing about me. A lot of the FGC knows that I played DDR, but not many other people do. They're like, you play DDR? I want to see. And then I show them like, so. CEOgaming.org, CEOgaming, Gaming.org. All the information's up. It's in Orlando, Florida, June 28th to 30th. I'm expecting a really great show this year. About 2,000 people I hope are coming. Last year we had 12 different countries represented. This year, who knows? So yeah, just go to CEOgaming.org. You can go on my Twitter, CEO Jebailey, Jebailey, and just follow me. I like to entertain people online too.
Alright Game Code fans, so I want to level with you here. I know a lot of the show focuses on indie devs, and that is 100% intentional. The rise and proliferation of the indie developer over the last few years might be the single best thing that's happened to gaming in recent memory. While yes, I will be the first to admit, not all that is indie is gold, and I think we collectively treat a lot of the indie titles with rose-colored glasses. But that issue aside, I think what is important is to think about how we actually fund these titles. Kickstarter and other sites like Indiegogo are known as crowdfunding services. What they allow you to do is for the creator to take the product or idea directly to the end customer and cut out the middleman. The end user base collectively votes with their wallet, contributing to the project, and in return will typically receive some sort of token based on their level of support. Donate $20 to an up-and-coming musician and you might get a mention in the liner notes. Or maybe a donation of $200 will net you a non-speaking role in an independent film. The content producer wins as they receive the necessary capital to create the project, and the end user wins as they get something that they are more engaged with and possibly something that might not have even existed otherwise. However, this seemingly democratic system is not without its problems, and if we want to continue reaping the fruits from this system, we need to seriously think about it. Now, I've been vocal on the show about my concerns regarding Kickstarter before, and I wanted to speak to an article I read regarding Zach Braff and his upcoming project that he recently took to Kickstarter to fund. I'll admit it, I loved Zach's first movie, Garden State, and I couldn't be happier to hear that Zach is working on something else. However, when I saw his appeal on Kickstarter, I was sort of rubbed the wrong way, and I couldn't figure out why. It was then I found an article on the subject by Ken Levine, who put it eloquently with an article titled, "I won't give Zach Braff one dime." His argument, Zach Braff has the power to get money and people in the room, to hear him out and to work with him and to get the job done. He has a track record, a name, and proven success both on screen and as a director. Fast forward not 2 days later, when someone in a similar situation said the total opposite. Kevin Smith, creator of the hilarious Clerks, just finished penning his third installment of the popular movie and told media that he would not be pursuing a Kickstarter for this project. His reasons? He has the money, or at least he has the means to get money, on his own, and doesn't want to take away from a young upstart that doesn't have the same advantage. So, who is right? It's really a matter of opinion, but I wanted to share my take on it. I'm much more inclined to agree with Kevin Smith on this one. When Kevin made the first Clerks movie, he did it on a shoestring budget, maxed his credit cards, and busted his ass to get the movie to a receptive audience. He found it, and the work was commercially successful. If Kevin were showing the first Clerks on Kickstarter project, he would be someone that I'd want to give money to, and a project that shows passion. That is realistic in its goals and needs to get there, and ultimately something I'm genuinely interested in. Now, to be fair, Zach's project hit the first and third points I made in spades. Zach is very passionate about filmmaking, and I can't wait to see what he has in mind. However, Zach doesn't strike me as someone who needs a couple of bucks to make a movie. And while he's confronted with this statement expressing the idea that getting funding would compromise his ideals, I can't get behind that idea. And I don't think it's asking a lot for at least you to discuss your vision with another person if it meant actually getting that vision out there to be seen. So what does this have to do with games? Well, let's talk about Tim Schafer and Double Fine Games. Tim has made some remarkable games in his day and continues to make some really innovative stuff with the help of Kickstarter backing. However, I don't think it's any stretch to say that Double Fine can't fund a project without Kickstarter. But they don't, because Tim has been very vocal about protecting his vision. Now, this seems odd considering someone breaking into the scene would be more than happy to get feedback and hear what others would have to add to their project. And it's those people on Kickstarter that we ought to be looking for to help fund. And it's what the service should be aiming to do, not double dipping and minimizing risk when you're already an established developer. Truth be told, there's a vested interest for these crowdfunding services to not want to entice these small up-and-comers as they're skimming the pot. So ultimately it comes back to us. While Double Fine is working on some fantastic titles that I'm personally excited for, I will probably skip their Kickstarters in favor of something smaller and more niche. Again, I'm not arguing that everyone should take this approach. But what I do think matters is that you have to consider the type of model you want to encourage in crowdfunding so it serves the aims and gets us the best possible game for our dollar. For the Game Code, I'm Michael Sharp.
Coming up, Ian and Blake return with this week's lesson in Mobanomics. Stay tuned.